Hey guys, it's Woody here, or welcome to another video. Today, I will be giving my spoiler-filled review of Doctor Strange. So I saw this movie on Thursday, November 3rd, and I just thought it was a really great movie, really good job of an origin story. Just one of the best origin stories that has been in the MCU so far, and a really great introduction into magic. I think they did an amazing job on that. They did a good job of explaining, the differences between the normal world that you think that, only appears to the eye as just this normal world. This is how you see it. But what you don't see is this whole, different universe around you. And they really help you kind of tap into that theme that goes on throughout this whole movie. So let me just start by saying Benedict Cumberbatch is the ideal role for Stephen Strange. Just amazing acting. And I really like how they went into this whole idea. I mean, how are we going to see this arrogant surgeon, filled with money, doesn't care about anybody but himself, turn into this master of the arts? How is this going to work? And Marvel really shows us how. His arrogance, in a sense, is what causes this horrific accident, and he is yet still this jerk, really, after the accident. And it's not until he meets this man who has gone through this paralysis and has come back and is able to move and everything now. And Doctor Strange just wants to know, how did this happen? I just want to get back into doing what I do. This is my life. My work is my life, and my hands cannot do that. Now he's just looking for a solution, and Mr. Jonathan Pangborn takes him to that very place. So Doctor Strange goes to Kamar-Taj, and he goes to the Ancient One, where she starts to explain how they use magic to heal. And he just doesn't believe it. The Ancient One just really shows him everything. And Stephen Strange just begs and begs and begs. He wants to know how that works. And the Ancient One, really amazing acting by Tilda Swinton. Great job. And she really made an impact on this movie, and it was really sad that she had to die. But it was a very meaningful death. That scene, here I am, turning one moment into 1,000 just to see the snow. I mean, that was just touching. Because in the midst of all this violence and all this war going on because of Caecilius, this is just a peaceful death. And after all of this teaching that the Ancient One has passed on to Stephen Strange, this was just very meaningful, very sad, but it was just so gentle, such a just peaceful goodbye to the Ancient One. It was just a really great element in the film. But Baron Mordo, Carl Mordo as he goes by in this film, just a very complex character. Through about the first act, we can see him as a trusting right-hand man, and obviously a lot of us in the comics knew that he is a Doctor Strange villain, so we were wondering, is he gonna just kind of stick, with Stephen Strange, or is he going to be kind of a Loki character where something snaps and it makes him branch off? And this was the case. Whenever he finds out that the Ancient One takes energy from the dark dimension, from Dormammu, that's when he snaps, because that is what Caecilius uses. It just makes him feel betrayed, because everybody the Ancient One is taught, and he's just thinking about that. He himself, he just feels betrayed. And so he wanted to make it his mission to get rid of these sorcerers, take the magic from these people who were trained by the Ancient One. And we can see also in the after credit scene that he does that to Jonathan Pangborn. And this is just a tease about his villainous little snap there. Now let's talk about Wong. What a lovable character. He was part of that joke at the beginning where Doctor Strange was like, it's just Wong? Just like Drake, Beyonce, Bono? And then, of course, later, a few minutes later, we see him listening to Beyonce, Single Ladies, while Doctor Strange just steals these books and distracts him. It's just hilarious. That is the Marvel humor that I love. It doesn't take away from any of the movie. The tone is still very serious, but it still gives that awesome humor. And since Wong is confirmed for Avengers Infinity War, I feel like that will be some source of the humor. And I feel like since Wong is in this, he will be a good way of explaining to the other Avengers how all this magic works. And in one of the main promotional videos of the movie, he talks about how the Avengers protect the world from these more normal threats, and they take care of these more mystical ones. I feel like that is kind of the role he will play in Infinity War, just kind of explaining to the other Avengers how this stuff works. I'm just so excited to see him, and it was awesome because Doctor Strange was like, "Do you ever laugh?" And then, of course, right at the end, he just laughs. That was just great. What a lovable character. When you look at him, don't you just want to give him a big bear hug? Is that just me? But this was just such a great cast, and one great addition to that cast was Rachel McAdams, and she played Dr. Christine Palmer, aka the Night Nurse, and she just did a really good job. I mean, she dealt with Stephen Strange during all of his arrogance, and she was just always at his side no matter what. And of course, the first time she sees Stephen after all of that argument and stuff, Stephen just apologizes, and she's just so accepting of it. So it's just really trustworthy character. So now let's go to Caecilius. Mads Mikkelsen did great as the role, but I do think that he has that Marvel villain issue that a lot of MCU villains have seemed to have. But I do think that Loki is an exception. I do think that Baron Zemo is an exception. Well, Helmut Zemo. Because I feel like we will see more of Zemo in the future, and that was just not a fully developed villain because that is not what the Civil War movie was about. I do think that Caecilius was a well-developed villain, but I do think that the MCU has had the best developed villains if they have started out somewhat good and then, their story has branched off throughout movies. That's why Loki has turned out so good, and it seems like Mordo is kind of going that direction too, and since Dormammu was set up as well, I just think that that is the definition of villain in the MCU. And I know that these movies need one main kind of villain to advertise with, and I know, they can't just advertise Dormammu because they were trying to keep that a secret. And that's why they have these type of villains like Caecilius, but I just feel like they could just add a little more. I don't know really what they could do. They're doing a good job, but I just feel like these one-time movie villains could just kind of get less of a feeling that they are just here to fill as the villain for this movie. So that's just what I think. And as rumored a while back, the Eye of Agamotto was confirmed to be the Time Stone, and obviously that is how that whole funny scene with Dormammu, or Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and he just keeps dying, and he just is like, I can do this all day, basically. He just keeps coming back and forth, and that was a really cool introduction to the Time Stone. It's really awesome that we got to see Dormammu, and there's our 5th Infinity Stone, and there are speculations that the 6th one is inside of Heimdall's armor. So that is a very good theory, actually, so we'll just have to see. And can we all give a hand to the Cloak of Levitation, which for some reason we all have a liking to, and it was a hilarious scene in the movie? Okay, but can we talk about that mid-credit scene with Thor and that pint of beer that keeps refilling, and how he explains how he's looking for Odin and Loki's in New York, and Doctor Strange is like, man, you gotta, skedaddle once, you find Odin, I gotta get back to Asgard, and Thor's like, yes, of course, yeah, and then Doctor Strange is like, alright, man, I'll help. Okay, that just sounded a lot like how Luis explains all that stuff from the end of Ant-Man, but that's kind of what that scene reminded me of, but yeah. So this scene basically just confirms that Doctor Strange will be appearing in Thor Ragnarok, and it seems like that scene is taken right out of Thor Ragnarok, just as that piece of a scene from Civil War was tagged onto the end of Ant-Man. Now, Doctor Strange was a great movie, overall very enjoyable, and I'm sure that I missed a lot of things, but this is basically my breakdown. What important things to take out of this movie and think about for the future of the MCU. So if you haven't seen the movie, I definitely recommend you do. But as of right now, that is it. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you want to keep up with my Marvel stuff, you can follow my Marvel Instagram account, Caps Language Police, and if you want to follow my YouTube, Instagram, then you can follow it on Woody on IG. And yeah, thanks for watching.